Hey everybody, this is Discord user Slappy Whyte and Discord user Logo, the host of Across the Realm for a very special Across the Realm After Dark, if you will, right, Logo?
Yeah, across the realm. We're not across the ocean, but I believe we're across two separate days because it's still Friday where I'm at. How about you, Slappy?
It is Saturday. That's
Hey, it works. And here we are. I'm outside. I still have some sunshine. I think you're probably dark right now. This is what I do in the evening, usually in the hot tub, but I don't think that's quite on brand for what we're trying to do here. But yeah, enjoying the atmosphere on this lovely evening. I hope you're doing okay, Slappy, and get some sleep at least
well, of
after
course
this.
you're up near the Canadian border, so for a lot of people, having that much light at 9 o'clock at night where you are, that's so. I mean, we're past June 21st, 22nd, longest day of the year, and here it is
Yeah.
a month later, and you're still like, when will it get dark there? 10 o'clock?
Yeah, so I mean, the camera does a pretty good job. So if I look out in the sky, it's definitely darker than what it appears. But yeah, I mean, what is it? 9:05, 9:30, I'd say is when it's probably going to be getting kind of dark out here, but
Yeah,
still a good time.
I love
Well,
those
let's
long.
talk
Yeah, let's talk.
tourney, right?
Let's talk the tournament. I'm excited. Is that what we were trying to do, Loco, is that originally for folks who don't know, we wanted to start the tournament actually back during the Kickstarter days. Kickstarter won because unfortunately, not because of the Wonders team or the community, but so much of the focus was taken off what's important, right? In the game. Like the game is at the end of the day, that's what's most important. And so we said, how can we get the focus back on? We said, everybody likes playing it, everybody likes competing, and like let's have a tournament. And so it took us a little while. I'm glad we finally got it off the ground. We did mention to people things would be a little, we want to get it perfect the first time, and you could see that because when we did the scheduling, we originally had it's scheduled for, I think we had a set schedule one weekend and the next weekend, and then we shifted and we said, well, what did we do, Loco?
Sorry, I missed that last part. We shifted.
Yeah, well, I said, and so then we ended up changing the format, right? So what was the format for the play-in logo?
Yeah, so our format for the play-in, it was actually really, really interesting, but how it wound up was, I mean, today there's a ton of action, but what they had about 2 weeks, I believe, to play into this. Basically, it's find someone you want to play. You set up a separate server, Wonders of the First tournament server, and people just had to reach out. Hey, you want to play a match? You want to play a match? And then these last couple days, we even had certain time frames to hit to match up. And I mean, these last couple days was rip roaring. I even think, I mean, the tournament's over, so don't misquote me here, but I saw a couple people playing right now. I'm kind of trashing the spirit animal. According to this, they're in Match Voice channel right now, and it says they've been on Tabletop Simulator right now. So that's what we want, right? We want the community playing. I mean, that's a win right there, just seeing those two continue to play.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, how many matches? Do you have a count on how many total matches were played? Do you have that handy?
Yep, I think it's 36 when I went.
36
36.
total matches played. Yeah, and I'm looking here, and I mean, the amount of stones that were won as well. That's such a cool number to see too, is
Right.
people conquering these stones.
Well, and yep, and I'm going over to take a look at that, and yep, 35 matches that were played.
35.
So that's, which is great, and that's what we were trying to focus on. And I think just today, actually, when you talk about how many there were, I think just yesterday and today, we ended up with there were 13 matches just yesterday and today. So we had two
Yeah.
weeks, and a third of them came in the last 48 hours.
Yeah, that's human nature, right? Just to kind of procrastinate a little bit and then under pressure, let's get it done. But I mean, I see on this sheet that you shared in the Discord, lots of greens. So lots of people were able to get those three matches in, which is awesome to see. What I like to see is I like to see some of them that have more than three matches. So,
Right.
for Wicked at the top, he was 3-0. He could have stopped right there, kept a perfect record. He went ahead and played another one, 4-0. Some
Yep.
people might have started with a losing record like the Onus. He finishes up 5-3, but it's
Right.
awesome to see these people playing more than those three required matches as well.
Yep. Yep. Love to see that. And of course, I'm kind of trash, who's still playing right now. He was
Yeah.
looking to help people with their qualifiers. I loved it. So you bring up the onus. That's a great segue. Let's go ahead and look at what the seeding is going to be. So who do we have as the number one seed, Loco?
Yeah, number one overall seed is Wicked. Now, he spoke with us this morning, super knowledgeable guy. I got to play against him. I'd be scared, just being honest. Like that, he's coming in perfect record, not just wins and losses, but also stones won and stone lost. So he's the only one in this bracket that has not lost a stone. Now, we've talked about how you only really need 4 stones to win, right? So some people get hung up in the game thinking I need to get all these realms. You only need 4 to win. Well, if you're Wicked, he's like, I'm just going to take all 7. So good luck, right?
Right, right. I don't even know how you do that because you would think even the best, it's even the best player. You think it's just after playing 4 matches, right? I don't even know how that's possible. You don't drop a stone in 4 matches, even the best player.
Yeah, when I was playing with him, I tried to play spoiler. I just played a random
Yeah.
pre-made deck. I tried to play spoiler, and he's like, "No, we're not going to have any of that." So it was a lot of fun. It was a
Okay,
lot of
well,
fun.
he's going to be playing now. Of course, for Wicked to qualify, he ended up. Let's see, his 4 matches that you were talking about. He ended up playing Thumper, and he thumped Thumper 5-0, Leonis 7-0, Brutus 7-0, and Loco 4 7-0. So that's how
Yeah,
we get there. And he's going to be playing the Weasel, and the Weasel ended up going where he was. Let's see, he ended up losing to Mazdalin 5-2, and then he beat I'm Kind of Trash 4-2, and he beat Brutus 3-3 on the tiebreaker. So that's who
yeah.
he's going to
So
face. Go ahead.
yeah, we had a matchup of the W's up there in the top of that bracket, and unfortunately, Weasel being that 8 seed is tough. And you look at the stone differential. The issue here is he's the only one who's qualified with a negative stone differential. So
That's a
I'm
great
not
point.
I'm not I'm not picking the upset here, just because all his matches were really really close. He kind of weaseled his way in there, I'm gonna say. But
You bring up a good point. The only person, of course, there were a number of people to play in tournament play. The only one who didn't qualify for the bracket Saturday with a net positive stone was Cautious Fishes, who was 2-3. He had a 40% winning percentage, and he was a +4 on the stones. Only person not to qualify for the tournament. So interesting that you point that out about Weasel.
yeah, I was looking at that at Cautious Fishes too. So, I mean, you might have his matchups handy. I don't have that one handy, but maybe, the ones he won might have been by a big margin. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it's
it comes. Oh, there you go.
go
You
right
got
ahead
it.
and take a look at their
Yeah, it,
local.
it comes it comes down to the wins losses though is the bottom line. So, what's it look like there? It's a little small for me. Sorry, my glasses are
Yeah,
not quite as good.
is that a
Oh,
little
there
bit
we
better?
go. Yeah. So 5-1, 1-2. Oh, those are the wins losses. Do you have the
Yep. So he
stones? Oh, I see. There it is. I see it now. Yeah, so 5-1, 1-2, 3-4, 3-4. So they're all pretty close. All pretty close. That's interesting and how that kind of fleshed out.
Yep, he did end up close right there. And so, of course, Cautious Fish is not making it. And so you've got Weasel and Wicked. You're not calling for the upset there. Next one
No.
we've got Prism Bender. So we had 3 undefeated members in the tournament. There was Wicked, and then number 2 seed is Prism Bender, and Spirit Animal, both 3-0, both undefeated, but stone differential, Prism Bender 13 positive, and Spirit Animal was a +4. So Prism Bender gets to take on Ben Stone Runner, who quite frankly is like, I feel like he's coming on strong. But I call him Stone Runner, by the way. That's not what he goes. He goes by Bender, Ben. But it's part of his name. Ben Stone Runner sounds like an action hero.
Okay, yeah, so okay, that's awesome. Yeah, so when I saw Stone Runner, I was attracted to this because I'm like, come on now. We're trying to capture these stones with the name of Stone Runner. I mean, I'm gonna be a fan. I was
Yeah.
supposed to play Prism Bender yesterday. If you're watching Prism, sorry, I had some family stuff come up. So I would have had something to talk about with him, but the fact he's undefeated is huge. And then the spirit animal comes through undefeated as well. So having those 3 top undefeated is massive. But once again, just that stone differential. I mean, if you're looking at it, I, Prism Bender, Ben Stone Runner. I don't know much about him, but I'll have to just go with the number 1 seed down there too, with the Prism Bender, the second overall playing our Ben Stone Runner the seventh. I don't. I wish I had more to say, but
Okay.
17 stones won, 4 stones losses. I mean, that's not showing a lot of weakness there.
Right. Well, and you can see Ben, he started out with a loss. Oop, I forgot to put the green right there for him. He started out with a loss on his first game against Draknell, 2-4. Then he came
Okay.
back against Gen Con 4-2, and then Filizino, he came back stronger, 5-2. And then, of course, Prism Bender down there, You've got I'm Kind of Trash, which was a really tight game, but then he just dominated, beat Brutus 7-0, and then beat the Onus, who was playing really strong recently, and he beat the Onus today 6-1. That was, I mean,
Yeah.
Prison Benders going into the tournament strong.
Yes. Even talking like maybe strength of schedule, I would say Prison Benders probably played the stronger teams to qualify as well.
Yep. Okay, and then the next one is that so we've got Spirit Animal, who's just come on strong lately. He's going to be playing Draknail. So Draknail is 2-1, and then of course Spirit Animal's undefeated, like we said. Spirit Animal's a +4 stone differential, and Draknail is a +3 through his 3 games. So if we look at what his schedule was, Draknail, he ended up losing to Brutus 3-4. But then he ended up beating I'm Kind of Trash 4-3, and then Ben Stone Runner 5-2.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the closest matchup of this first round. Spirit Animal plays a ton at home, always in chat asking questions for the past few months. Draknail, I know from the Playstest team, good, strong player. Same thing, always playing outside of tabletop or on tabletop. So these guys are coming in with a lot of experience. Frankly, it's a coin toss here, to be honest with you. But I think it's going to be close. If I were to watch one, I mean, it's all going to be exciting, but I think this will be the most exciting one. I think there's a lot of experience from both players in this matchup for sure.
Well, you know what? I'll have to look at that and see because we'll get to how we're going to feature these matches tomorrow in a second. All right, but we're almost done here. So then moving back up is that we have, I think, yes, the final one, the 4 and 5. So you've got Cryptatum, our European representative, playing against Mazdalin. I don't know where Maz is located, if he's US based, he or she's US based, but they each had a 3-1 record. So you've got 2 people matched up going against each other. It's the stone differential. Take a look at that, Loco. Can you see on the screen the difference between
Yeah, I
Cryptatum?
see Tatum has a stone differential of 15 and Mazdalin has a stone differential of 6. I'm with Tatum in this one. The Olympics are coming on what, next week or something in France. I believe Tatum has hinted that's where they're located. I got to experience Tatum a little bit through the Kickstarter, and this guy has been a part of lots of games, lots of Kickstarters. I don't know a lot about Mazdalin, so I only can speak to Tatum, but I know there's some gaming experience there. Mazdalin obviously has to have some gaming experience too, coming in at 3-1. Now, let me ask you this, Slappy. They both have that 3-1 record. Did they have a loss early on, or were they 3-0 going into their fourth match?
No, so that's what's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. And 2 and wait, did I say 3? Oh yeah, it was 3-1. Cryptatum. Let's see. I've got to get. Darn it! All right, I got to add that over Cryptatum. So I was trying to provide as many analytics as possible. I've got to add
Sure,
that
no,
on
it's
here.
great.
Yeah, for let's see, for Mazdalin, so you can see that he ended up beating the Onus 6-1, and then he ended up dropping one. You know what's interesting about Brutus? Brutus was a very hot and cold because you can see Mazdalin. Look at the strength: 6-1 over the Onus, 5-2 over the Weasel, who's in there, 4-3 over the I'm Kind of Trash, who played really well for most of this tournament. But
Yeah.
Brutus, the one loss that Mazdalin suffered was against Brutus, and I think we mentioned somebody else on who had a loss to Brutus. It would be interesting to see if you add up all the losses of the people who made it in, who did they lose the most to? That's what I'd like to
Right.
see. Who caused the
Yeah.
most losses?
Yeah. Just who's kind of wreaking havoc. So hearing that from Mazdalin now makes me kind of second guess my choice because that's beating some people in here. Um, That's pretty. That's a good. That might be another fun one to watch. That one too. I'm a little upset that the Onus didn't make it in there. I'm not upset at the Onus. I was just a big fan. I know they came in and they said, "Hey, I made this deck, had 2 losses from the start, and then just went on a hot streak." And so that's just unfortunate that that's where they fell with
Yep.
that record because I know, I mean, ugh, right? You come in, start off 0-2, and then go
Yep.
hot four in a row. That's too bad.
All right, and I just updated real time here because it was one of the last matches. Is that when you look at Cryptatum, Tatum's last match, which I didn't have included in this area, was against Marky Marks, who was credit to Marky Mark, was trying to get his matches in to qualify, helped a lot of people out. Unfortunately, didn't help Marky Mark out, but he ended up. You take a look at this, and again, what I think with Maslin dropped it to Brutus. He dropped his second match. Tatum dropped his first match 3-4. But then look at that. I mean, talk about domination. 7-0 against I'm Kind of Trash, 4-2 against Filizino, and then 7-0 against Tatum. So you were saying, like, looking at Maz's schedule, you're like, this is actually, you want to know what? This is the one I have. Well, and I'll tell you what, this brings us, let's talk about how we're going to do it. The matches are going to be at noon, 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're somebody who wants to watch and see what's going on, how are you going to get to watch it? Well, I spoke with Infinite, and if you take a look at the Radish Wonders, if you look in the Wonders Discord right now, look in the Coliseum, there is a new space in the Coliseum labeled Tournament. And Infinite has blessed us with a Coliseum space. So we will have the featured match. And so I originally had it. And you know what, Loco? I'm glad we're doing this, because when you were saying, oh, this is the match I'd watch earlier, it's like, now looking at this, I'm excited to see this match.
Now that you brought that up, like, I looked at these spreadsheets a little bit too. I didn't get to spend much time, but now that you brought that up, that's going to be exciting. And that might be an exciting, let's just say Maslin and Wicked make it through to the second round. That might be one to watch too. Who do you have going through all the way? Who's your favorite? Slappy, do you got a favorite?
No, as the person who organized the tournament, I absolutely root for everybody. I am not saying that.
Nice. Not saying that. Yeah, I like it. So I think we're gonna see some good matches. I'm excited to watch when I can. So it'll be a lot of fun. This
All
whole
right.
thing's been great. I mean, I wish I could have participated more, but especially these last 2 days, I've had a blast just seeing people post their scores and seeing how much activity there is. It's been a lot of fun.
All right. Well, and I hope the excitement. So right. So one of the things we want is we want people to always keep their eye on the game, because that's the most important thing. We want people playing the game, and so we want to keep people excited. And I got to tell you, by the way, my 15-year-old son who plays the game, because I moved recently and I really haven't seen my family that much, is that my son goes, wait, there's a tournament? I want to be in the tournament. And so my first thought was, oh my gosh, an under 18 tournament. And I'm excited we're not done with our first tournament, but I would like to start taking names from people who have under 18 kids, 17 and under. If your kids want to play this, have an 18 or 17 and under tournament. And just for kids, right? Because that's what a way to grow it as well. And like, I know my son wants to, so hey, let's go ahead and do that. Well, so with this, how do we educate people and get other people excited? So we want it to go out as much as possible. So we want it out on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch. We want it in the Discord, the Wonders Discord, to keep that Discord happening and active. We want them to see it. So what we're going to do is that we have 4 matches happening at noon, because there's 8 contestants that advance. We have 8 seeds that came out of the field, and they qualified by playing at least 3 matches, having the best record. And there were a number of tiebreakers. And so we'll have 4 matches at noon. One of them will be featured in the Wonders Discord in the Coliseum, and you can see the tournament channel there. And then we're also going to have one being featured in Twitch. That's going to be on Drakneel's Twitch. And then we're going to have 2 additional matches that are going to be featured in Radish Wonders X, and then one featured in Radish Wonders YouTube. So it's going to be kind of like March Madness. It's going to be like the Olympics. You want to watch rowing, you watch MSNBC, and if you want to watch, swimming, you watch NBC. And people, it'll be great. Like, you can actually on your computer pull up 3 different screens. You can watch them
all up there. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, that's gonna be fun. I think I'll catch the first ones. I don't know if I'll be able to see the 5 p.m. one, but I think I'll be back for the 10. So I'll be able to see the opening, which in March. Speaking of March Madness, my favorite are the first couple days. So that'll be fun to watch that chaos, and then
I mean, can you imagine if Wicked lost in the opening round, Var? Talk about an upset.
Hey, I mean, it's possible. He was talking about his deck earlier on Across the Realm, and he shared it with me, and I took a look at it, and I was just, soloing it just to see like how it played out and stuff. And then, a card showed up, and I was like, I just sent him a message like, hey, this card? And he did, but he talked about it today, like, hey, there was a counter for it. I might have to adapt a little bit. And that's the thing, like, even someone who has a lot of experience with it, there's still these new card interactions that pop up, right? And you don't exactly have them all memorized. or you might think of it and then forget it as you're building your deck. So I'm
When,
excited to see what happens too with what kind of decks people are going to bring as well. Now they
okay.
have to check, like they can't change, right? I want to know this finals, like whatever they check in is it, right? For the long
Yeah.
term.
And so, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the rules. And so where people are allowed customized deck, and they can switch it between games, and that's been allowed. But going into bracket Saturday, they have to play with one deck the entire day, right? For all three matches, Loco?
Yep, one deck.
Okay.
So
And that one deck has to be submitted beforehand. They're going to just play with the one, and that's what they're going to go with. And so there was a little bit of talk because I know Hawkwind talked at, and we'll wrap it up here in a couple of minutes. We've been on for 22
yeah,
minutes, but Hawkwind was talking about at National they're going to do a tournament. It's the pre-made decks, but this is a little bit different. And I think there was some discussion among folks talking about doing the tournament, and it's really hard, right, Loco? Because we have people in the community who don't know anything, and it really those pre-made decks are perfect for that segment. But then there's a group of people like once you start playing like Loco, what do you think? Like if you play 3 games on tabletop, 5 games on tabletop, 10 games, at what point do you think it gets to you're like, I want to create my own deck. I need something a little bit more. How
yeah,
soon do you think that happens?
yeah. So part of it is, is the time you have. And so me personally, what I would do is I would play each orbital, or at least like have a partner. So one plays one, I play another. And then I stacked up all the cards and looked through and see some interactions. So once I kind of played each orbital once or twice, I was ready to go. So I would say that's, a handful of games, 10. Some people probably just go right in there and just start messing around. But I definitely played a lot with the print and plays before tabletop came out. And then once I got in there, yeah, it was just time to start building. It's tough though. Like if you've never built a deck before, like it becomes a huge time sink. I mean, massive. Because what happens is, you see all these good ideas, you spread it out there, and it's like, okay, I have 20 cards maybe. Well, how am I going to support this with 30 other cards? Or vice versa, where you have over the cards you need, and then you need to start shaving cards. Or
Right.
then you start playing with it and you realize, dang, I put 3 cards in here, 3 secondaries. I don't need 3. I just want 1 or 2. So
Right.
that becomes quite the process then. And so then you just keep modifying and modifying. And then I'm going to tell you right now, some of the biggest disappointment is after you play tested it and then it just gets smashed, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's what Onus felt at the beginning. He talked in chat like, "Oh, I made my deck and it wasn't good." But it's hard to say, right? You get a bad draw. There's still luck involved, no matter how consistent you make it. In
Unless you're
chat,
wicked. Unless you're wicked.
yeah, well, we're even people talking about, is 50 cards too much, and so there's lots of discussion about trying to find that consistency if you're a competitive player, because I think that's key. If you're competitive, you need consistency, right? It kind of becomes it's fun still, but also becomes a job. And so you can imagine if your job wasn't consistent, how hard that would be for you to be successful. So
Well, and
yeah, it's
you talk about hard work. Is that of course Wicked sharing with us earlier with another game? He was spending 16 hours a day, and so
yeah.
you have to look out for Wicked because he also is willing to put in the time. I'm not saying he didn't say he's putting in 16 hours a day on Wonders right now, but you know what motivates and what he's capable of. So you have to beware
Yeah.
when you play Wicked. That's the person you might face. I will say you talked about the deck building. It was really helpful that Filizino, those YouTube videos that he created to help people get used to tabletop. And I think so. Going forward, what we're going to do is that tomorrow we're going to crown the first champion. And one of the things we're going to do with the champion, they're going to have a chance to play Brian Tinsman. That's just an extra bonus prize. They are the champion, the person tomorrow. They don't have to beat Brian to be the champion. Of course, I'm headed to national. I'm going to do what I can to get as much as I can for the people involved in this tournament. Definitely going to get some alt cards, going to get some signatures from the artists. And I'll be looking out for addresses from people who are involved, not just the people who qualify, but also some of the people who have participated. So they get something as well for the first Wonders tournament. And then the plan is like, I'll talk Loco with you and get feedback from the people who played, as well as other members of the community who wanted to play and didn't get involved. But I think I like this format is that basically we'll take a little bit of a break. come back and then say, starting on August 15th, then we announce you've got 2 weeks to get in your games. And then probably the last weekend of every month that's when the tournament happens. So we'll roll right into it, but we'll give people a couple week break. So that's the way it's not constant. Like, hey, I'd love to get to it. Maybe we get to a point where we do have a tournament going on all the time, but right now, one tournament a month for a couple weeks, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I love the format. Once you shifted to, hey, find someone to play in 2 weeks, I was like, oh yeah, this is the way to do it. And I hope people understand, like, this is Radish Steel. This is community driven. It's to really get eyes on the game, get some excitement going on. Some people are feeling this November wait's going to be a long wait, but there's a lot going on. I mean, I just got my playtest kit. We got this tournament going on. There's a lot of chances to play right now, and I think this is great opportunity for people. And I hope it'd be sweet if we could double these numbers by September or October or something. That'd be pretty sweet.
I know that would be. Yeah, and we'll have to see too in terms of what we're going to do on prize. It's interesting because I've never been involved in the competitive side of the CCG world, and it was fascinating talking with you and a few others about involving cash as a prize and the implication that has. So it'll be interesting to talk about that more because I'd love to, get, it's hard in the beginning. In this one, we've been very clear to say, like, it's about the game. We don't want to
Yeah.
drive it just by cash prizes or other prizes. Like, this is people playing for the love of the game. And to your point about I'm kind of trash and Spirit Animal playing right now in the Radish Wonders tournament Discord is like, that's what, that's how we started. And that's a great way to end, Loco. Is before we got on air, you were talking about, I mean, you sounded like a proud father who just had a newborn. Like, you're just so excited. And like, that's why we did it. Right. And put the time into it.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope people realize that, the team has said that many times. If we don't have a good game, we don't have a good product. It's not going to be here to stay. So they're really trying to make a good game. And early on, right, that was some of the flack that we were getting is, where's your game? Where's your game? And I was like, what do you mean? What have I been playing for 2 months? What are you talking about? So I think it's a healthy place. I think it's a healthy start. And to me, it's just like summer fun too, right? It's just a good time. People are in there. The fact, we talk to people and they're coaching. So you have Wicked after a match coaching you. You have Spirit Animal super active in the Discord asking questions. You have I'm kind of trash, just like who else wants to play a game? Let's play. I just want to play and visit. Like I think that's a really
Yeah.
healthy environment for this
Yeah, I
for
mean, when
sure.
Wicked said on your show earlier today that he met people, he's met so many new people like that. Also, I mean, like Wicked's been around forever, and I loved hearing that he got to know people. And really, the team behind Wonders that you and I have known for years, that's what makes it special, right? Is that it's a different. This is the only online community I've ever been a part of that bleeds into real world. You always talk about your online friends, but I love. There's a great South Park episode where they mock like kids going and playing with other kids, and really what they're doing is they're just getting on the computer liking each other's posts or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just this is about forming real connections. And you and I joke about you were waiting for me at the gate of Yellowstone, but my cross country trip was just a little bit off. You and I were going to meet in
Yeah.
person, and we are going to
Yeah,
one
that's
day.
close. One day. Well,
Yeah.
it's getting a little dark here,
Okay.
Slappy. It's been great
Hey,
talking
hey,
to you. This
hey,
is a lot of fun.
hey, one last thing before we go is who should be
Yeah.
the, let me do the Hawk one last thing. I was thinking about the deck building because that definitely seems to be the issue. Who would you say, I know Wicked knows so much about strategy. And do you think he's the one? It's like, I think when we do the next tournament, we do a across the realm special and it's just about deck building on TTS. And we bring in someone to talk about it for the tournament. Do you think it would be Wicked, or would he be a good person to ask?
Yeah, I mean there there's some knowledge here. So I mean like not just him. I mean you got Joe, he's not in the tournament, but you got
Yep.
Neil in the tournament. I mean there Filizino. I mean there's some knowledge here. You had a
Okay.
guy, what, Jay Fire, he
Yep.
said he had to drop out today, but yeah, we could definitely talk, but there's I am humbled when because I'm more just a fan. I like to play. It's fun. Um, when these guys are talking and working, it's pretty amazing. Bear's another guy that's just, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much knowledge there. I love him on Across the Realm and the way he can communicate all that into It makes sense, but man, you just see him just smiling and nodding. There's a lot going on there as well. So yeah,
All
we'll
right.
talk
Well,
for sure.
yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe you can do an across the realm special, and that's what we'll fill 2 weeks before the tournament starts in August. Is you could do a
Love
special
it.
on that.
Perfect. All right, Slappy. You have a great